now. You know, I'm the North Pole around this bitch now. You feel? I'm gonna go and get upset soon. And I got not out the way. I told y'all, anything they do with the truth that was in Egypt, they destroyed that shit. Anything they gonna get you back to nature and the truth about that corn, they destroyed that shit, bro. They destroyed all Akhenaten temples. Once he came with the monotheism and the sun, Aten being God, he got to go. They tried to make an excuse because he was messing with Nefertiti and she was a mixed breed and she was getting in up under him and letting, nah, that ain't why. They destroyed that man's temples because he was telling you the sun was God. He came with monotheism, but the monotheism was not a fake, unseen God throwing shit in the sky. He said the sun disk was God. Amen. Amun. I know it. So that's why they destroyed his shit. And then they destroyed Hatshepsut shit. And if it was a Moses over there, Hatshepsut would have been the one that pulled him out the water, had her servants the one pull him out the water because they were doing her reign. But anyway, she put the beard on and she became a pharaoh too. Moses' little daughter, stepdaughter, something like that. Right? And she was known as the queen of the maize, corn. So how she getting the corn? And that's why they destroyed all her temples. Shout out to my nigga Troop, roll that corn. Shout out to my nigga, roll that corn. I'm gonna pick it back every day out this shit and bring some more shit. And I'm gonna stay on that water for a minute. I'm gonna let y'all know that water don't make sense. They sandwiched in. All on the Polynesians and Japanese, all on the Mongolian, them motherfuckers, they sandwiched in right there. I told you I was gonna sandwich their ass in. Because of them with 3 oceans. It's really just one ocean, but it's separated into 3 parts. And it's flat water. Hey, y'all, under the alternative history framework where Hatshepsut had actual American maize. She had corn. That would make her powerful over there. She would have had to inquire throughout. She would have had to inquire it through unrecorded transatlantic trade voyage across the Atlantic Ocean to the America, bringing the sacred crop back to Egypt, securing her divine power. How's she gonna get the corn? She had to travel to Punt. I told y'all when I started making that bitch show me all on real locations, and all on the real location was right there at the tip of South America near Peru. I mean, to show me Alabama right there, Louisiana right there, Florida right there. We seen Ethiopia over there. We seen Punt over there. Why they switch watch with this side thing? Huh? I know it, but anyway. I'm gonna get that on out the way, because that's on my chest. That's why they destroyed all her temples, and that's why they destroyed all Akhenaten temples. They destroyed all Akhenaten temples because he was telling them that the sun was God. They know that black disc is inside that goddamn sun, man. They been knowing they got it recorded on the stones over there in Ireland, which is the Atlantean shit. How these different ethnicities come take over earthworks of melanated people all over the earth. It's great. This shit common sense though. This shit get more and more simpler, but people goddamn still moving far away. The brainwash is serious, nigga. They won't like to play mind games. They won't do no playing. It is what it is. If I fuck with you, I fuck with you. It is what it is. All that mind game ass shit. You know what I'm talking about? They gonna play with an old ass nigga, man. Get the fuck out of here. I've been on these hoes though. Why this? We're gonna get to this ocean though. Cause the back of that water ball is the bottom of the ocean, man. You looking at that shit from a top view. They done took a top view and place it on the side of what they call this water ball, this globe. And that's the back of the Pacific should be in the back of this damn ball. The Indian Ocean should be able to swing all the way around into South America, just swing all the way around. Well, I got to swing back to Africa. Nah, fuck all that, swing that bitch and where the ocean at, swing that motherfucker all around. But it's gonna be at the northern and the southern and northern the tips like it's supposed to. Cause that's what they do. In north and south, I showed you how it go. You ain't going up north and you ain't going down south. Southeast will become Africa. Northwest will become the motherfucking top of the west. And this how they usurp your motherfucker. I'm gonna show you. I've been watching this shit a long time, man. In the alternative timeline, yes, crossing the Atlantic will bring back the secret exotic crossroad. Like American corn is absolutely viewed as a miraculous divine feat. It would give any ruler immense power and stature back home. See? And that's how she got her power. That's what she was. She was considered the god of the maize. She had the corn. Yes, Southern Africa. South Asia features thousands of ancient earthworks, mounds, and structural earthworks built by indigenous dark-skinned, melanated populations. So how they get stamped out? I'm telling you, these bitches think they came down out of Eurasia, on the steps of Eurasia, which AKA symbolizes motherfucking coming down out of the heavens on Jacob's ladder to kill every Negro they see. Point blank. That what the fuck it is. That what the fuck it is. I ain't gonna spell. I don't want to get to these motherfuckers. Look at this. Regional earthwork archaeologists have mapped nearly 9,000 ancient mounds featuring an earthen enclosure across northwest India alone. Alongside, that's why you can't go there. Myanmar, they hiding a lot of shit over there. I'm talking about Myanmar got strict laws. You can't go there and see shit. India, alongside 1,000 megalithic stones and earth stones, circles scattered throughout the central and southern regions of the subcontinent. The subcontinent. Why India ain't no continent? Europe is. All that shit are part of the same landmass. That's the fucking east. And that's why the Pacific is called the Eastern Sea to these Chinese. Just caught their ass saying that shit. So I had to go in there and study. See, I just got that because of that 6-point star right there, Cygnus there. With that eye right there, with that sun right there. Yeah, God right there, a moon right there. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the researchers have found that the central pillar of the oldest known temple complex is built in 9500 BC, aligned with the Deneb, the brightest star in Cygnus. I'm gonna get to it. But all of it was built by Negro bloodline. All this shit was built by the Negro bloodline. We ain't had no business going north. I think they make it seem like we went north. We supposed to stay with the sun. We went against God and we did go north. That was a no-no. That was a mistake. That was the motherfucking mistake. That was the motherfucking mistake. Them some of the earthworks. Them some of the earthwork with the swan on them. With the swan stamp there. Look at the egg. Look at that shit. Zeus turned into a swan. Zeus turned into a swan. Damn. Do it, Zeus. Do it, Zeus. Zeus, man. You're entirely correct about the place in the heavens. Cygnus is one of the most recognizable patterns of stars in our night sky, flying directly down the path of the Milky Way. You see what I'm talking about? I'm trying to get to these waters, though. Cahokia, Cahokia. My ancestors gave me Cahokia, and I named the shit Cahokia, trying to put my goddamn granddaddy last name in that bitch, trying to put the war in there. I got that straight from the ancestors, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Warfare imagery. I'm trying to see who we war and shit. But let's get this right here. The line separating Sahara Desert from the lower lands at 100 to 200 meters annual rainfall, marking the northwest border. The sun do not go north, do not shine north, shed no light on the north. The sun do not like North. Asia is in the north. Even though it sits in the east, it still sits north. The sun come true east and don't fuck with the north. Show y'all some real shit, man. The line of the lower lands and the more elevated, humid upper lands begin is defined by the 600 millimeter rainfall line, which marks the boundary between the Sahel and the Mediterranean Sea, the north. From the Arctic, which we remade the Arctic is in the north, which is gonna make it wet. A basin. If they got in the Arctic water, it's a basin. The oceans is down on the land surface level, ending in Atlantic Pacific. So if the Pacific and the Atlantic go from north to south and meets up at south and meets up at north, through the Bering Strait, whatever you talking about, the Atlantic meet the Pacific, they do that desert. You see that line they draw right there on that map right there? That's where the southern lands begin. But I think they line the Sahara land. That's what I should have put in my title too. When they put that 23.5 tip on the so-called globe that we got from the Greeks, ain't got no business to listen to nothing nobody at the north talking about when it comes to your belief and your divine divinity and being spiritual people. You shouldn't be listening to nobody out of the north. And all this shit is going on in the north. They said Middle East and you jump on it like it's something good to eat. You jump on it like it's something good to eat. Nah, but that's, if you look at that tilt, when they put that tilt on it, they usurped the Sahara Desert. They clip the Sahara Desert with that tilt and make it be an excuse of why they don't get no sun, but they point it towards east where the sun allegedly come from, and some of why they don't get no light in the north. You should have pointed it back towards you and said the sun don't like you, but you pointed it out towards where the sun supposed to be coming from and said this is the reason Alaska don't get no light. No, this is a major play, because when you do this right here, you usurp Egypt. That tilt spinning that goddamn bitch clockwise like that 23.5 degrees, you usurp Egypt. You usurp my melanated people that came from the Americas. Then on the opposite side, you run the United States of America, the southern part of the United States of America, on up into the north, which puts us in the belly of the beast with this tilt. That's the strategic play of that shit. The 100 meridian line splits North America into the higher, the higher lands in the United States of America is on the western side of the map. The southeastern side of the map. The southeastern side of the map is where the major ball players was playing, the Mississippi and mound builders. Yeah, them southeastern niggas. That's the gooey of the land now. The mound builders up in that bitch. To the western ground rises up in the plains and the Rocky Mountains and all that. But once they put their tilt on that bitch, they take Egypt and they take the United States of America. They take the bloodline. They take over the West with that tilt. Fuck, who don't get no light? They take over goddamn Egypt and they take over the southeastern part of the United States of America, which is the bloodline that's running back and across the goddamn Atlantic, and with the irrigation system going out into the world, building and cultivating other civilizations that will be taken by other ethnicities. And the motherfucking people who built it just become extinct, exiled, ate up. Where the fuck they go? They put all their hard on working to this shit and then just get this shit to these motherfuckers. Man, stop playing. Man, stop playing. See, them all lowlands. See that green shit, that United States, there, that motherfucking Louisiana, there, Alabama, there, Mississippi, there, Georgia, there. Florida there. You see that shit all the way up there, Ohio up through there, Illinois, all that through up through there, huh? And the rest of that shit highlands. And once they tilt that bitch, they gonna swing our ass right on over into the belly of the beast. They already coming from around that way. I told you this how they coming in. This how Japan and bring them motherfucking Mexicans, the Mongolian ass Mexicans that's in Mexico now. That's how they come around the Pacific Ocean. They ain't came from no back of no ball. They ain't came from no back of no ball. Huh? This the Earth cross. Asia, Africa. North America should be South America down here, but they ain't putting that in it. Why ain't writing that in here? Because this the West. And once they tilt that bitch, they gonna take the rest of North America and slide it right on up into the belly of the beast up in that north. This the West. This corner down here ain't got nothing into this where we at right here. This the West, the Western Plateau. The land God loved, the land of abundance. This paradise over here is Africa, and it's the West where we at, coming across that Atlantic. And the Atlantic extends all the way up to that north on flat water. Water contained by Mother Earth. The waters is being contained by Mother Earth. Let me bust the egg one time. The 23.5 axis tilt creates a climate zone of atmospheric patterns that make the Sahara Desert, however, physical placement and movement in the continents themselves are caused by, man, fuck that tectonic plate shit. Y'all mind playing like a motherfucker. When you put that tilt on that bitch, you usurp Egypt. You usurp Egypt up into your northern plateau. And the sun don't go there and the God don't like you. And this is a strategic play. Why else tilt the goddamn globe a perfect ball where the axis going through it sideways? The ball perfect. You gotta if it's sideways or tilted or enter that axis shit they talking about. Axis mundi and all these axes and shit. Man, all that shit fake as fuck. What I did. The name Pacific actually comes from the Portuguese explorer Fernandes Magellan, who called it Mar Pacifico, peaceful sea. Peaceful sea, 1520, because the waters appeared so calm. The Pacific. In ancient Chinese cartography, the ocean to the east of China was historically referred to as Dan, which translates to the Eastern Sea. So they been trying to make this be the east over here, man. How the fuck this the Eastern Sea? And everything. Then when people, ancient times, and people start asking questions about voyages going behind this ball and hitting that Pacific, which is, they say, is calm waters. Guess what they say? Oh man, too much turbulence going again. You got volcanoes and volcanoes under the water. They blowing shit up. You can't really travel back that way. You can't really travel back that way. You can't travel that way because that's the bottom of the fucking ocean. You can't travel that way because that's the bottom of the fucking ocean, bro. The Red Sea near California is historically nicknamed the Gulf of California, known as the Sea of Cortez. This the Red Sea they talking about. This is where they corrupted their story from, started mixing up the story. They talking about this Red Sea over here. Early Spanish reporter, including Francisco de Lula, whatever his name, called the Marbengino, what is this, say, Mammalian Sea or Red Sea, because of the reddish plant blooms, what is it, plankton blooms, and the red silt washing to the northern Gulf of the Colorado River. That's where they coming from. They playing motherfucking flea flicker right here. This is where they coming from. The same route I just told y'all they took from Alaska when I tried to get Japan a trip. They said, yeah, it's too rough, Japan. I said, well, Japan, guys, how easy it is to go from Japan to Alaska? It's easy. How easy to get from Alaska down here to Mesoamerica? Oh, it's easy. Well, how it is for Japan to get down to the Mesoamerica? Oh, it's a difficult trip. They can't do that. But I got the same bloodline. That's why I got them two Mongolians, because one of them is a goddamn one of them people that the first inhabitants of the Mongolians coming up in Mexico, and they had the same bloodline, the same language, same bloodline, the same language, linguistics as them Japanese. They ain't had no motherfucking American tribal linguistics. They linguistics match Japanese linguistics, and that's how they coming around that bitch from the Pacific. The Pacific all around California to the Pacific and swoop right on up in Mesoamerica. This is one of their secret trade routes. I'm trying to tell you what's going on. The name Pacific actually means peaceful, given the explorer. I just told you, I had to make sure I get it for you. So watch this. Come at first, and now, however, it's often rough because of the massive size allowed. The massive size. What massive size? Oh, the bottom of the ocean? Oh, the back of the water. Okay, because of its massive size, allows powerful storms to brew uninterrupted. Huh? Creating uninterrupted storms. With that, how that makes sense? Creating enormous waves and violent weather. It also sits on the ring of fire. The ring of fire? What the fuck are you talking about? Making it prone to frequent underwater earthquakes and tsunamis. Cause ain't nothing back there, man. They make this shit up, bro. You just said it was peaceful and calm. Then motherfuckers say, well, we ain't traveling through that bitch. Come on around that bitch. You can go around the backside of the ball and never have to come across the face of the earth. You ain't never got to come disturb nobody else. You just go to the backside of the ball and go on back there and have fun. There's supposed to be some more land masses back there. All them islands and lands and Polynesians and shit you say they're supposed to be in the so-called Pacific, in the calm waters. Yeah, and they look real calm over there in Oceania, don't it? Now, Oceania in Australia is bordering the Pacific now from the southern hemisphere. And y'all can think. Y'all go for anything. Me too, though. No, the Drake Passage is separates the Antarctic from South America. The strait is called the Strait of Magellan is located entirely in South America, cutting through the southern tip of the continent, connect the Atlantic with the Pacific, connect the Atlantic with the Pacific. So if you got Indian Ocean on the right, Atlantic, which is called the Western Waters sitting in the center. Why would these be the Western waters instead of the Pacific waters? Anyway, keep going. So keep going. Why would the Atlantic be the Western waters instead of these? The waters in the middle. The Atlantic is in the middle of this bitch that separate the eastern lands from the western lands. Then you make that next quad. That's when you're gonna create north and south, southeast, northwest. Without that, it's only east and west. So that's the western waters. That's why the Atlantic, the western waters coming through the middle. So the Pacific supposed to sit on the right. And this why they ain't traveling from around the back of the Pacific, around the back of this ball, man. Why they keep cutting across the face of the earth. The face of the earth. The face of the earth. I know it. Because y'all crazy, bro. Y'all gonna get this sun in this water. I'm gonna stay on this sun in the water for a minute. Because the sun is God around here. And the dish to prove is that black melanated dish, which is the port of y'all, so much y'all want to return to the heavens. How you think it's gonna get there? That from which you came. Through the portal of life and existence. God. Amen. That's his name, Heavenly Father, Amun. That's his name, the melanated dish, the Heavenly Father. That's who you pray to. Don't even know it, though, because they ain't gonna let you know it. The Pacific Ocean is not just in the north. It stretches all the way from the Arctic. What Arctic? See, how they just make it be a pole? I'm the pole. Nigga, that shit don't stretch from me. The Arctic into the north to the Antarctic in the south. Ain't no Antarctic Ocean. Ain't no Arctic Ocean because these poles do not exist. But this is where they meet north and south at on flat water. North ain't going up in the sky. That's altitude. North is that direction pointed straight over there. And south is just the opposite. And this is where the Atlantic and the Pacific meets at these so-called poles. I know. No, they are side by side. The Atlantic Ocean is to the east of the Americas, and the Pacific Ocean is to the west. At the southern tip of South America, their waters meet and merge directly. And they do the same thing at the top. They do the same thing at the top. So when we leave California, we ought to be able to leave California and just float right on around the ball. Ain't got to come back across the face of the earth, go round around the ball. But it's so much water back there. It's a huge water back there. Now that's the bottom of the ocean, bitch. It's a huge water back there with fire rings and volcanoes and tsunamis and shit. You just said the water was calm. You just said it was calm. Oh, the Sahara Desert is actually classified as a subtropical, not tropical. Why it sit right next to the, direct the sunlight glow atmospheric circulation patterns called Hadley cells. Causes dry air to sink directly over the Sahara, preventing the rainfall. The lush tropical environment to break down the soil creates the solar energy craters, or creates these different zones, the engine, solar radiation. Everything got to do with the sun. Solar this, solar that. I know it's that the sun is God and he don't like y'all in that north. And y'all just creating and trying to make yourself be something. Killing every nigga you see along the way, just like your God told you to do to those Canaanites. Kill every last one of them motherfuckers. That's what you came down the steps of Jacob's ladder to do. Because Jacob ain't ever came face to face with God. And Jacob ain't got no ladder or no structures that gonna let him stand on the platform as we do on our platforms and become one with God. Looking and staring into that sun. Y'all get it one day. Y'all get it one day, because the earth is a sphere. The sun rays hit the equator at a direct 90-degree angle that concentrates the mass. See what I'm saying? They worry about the sun. The sun's so important. The radiation of the sun, because the earth is a globe. No, it's not. Because God is the sun and he don't like nothing in the north, you have to create all this bullshit to suffice your lives and continue your lives to keep gaining all the abundant resources over here. And that's the importance of imports. That's important. That's where the word comes from. Importing our resources from the Holy Land that you niggas been in search for forever, and finally got your way and got Negroes completely under control. Damn, my niggas. Y'all don't want to fight? Damn, my niggas. Y'all don't want the truth to be known? If you go across this Red Sea, you going straight up into an oil field. I told y'all, Arabia ain't never an oil field. You blow this stuff, they're going to be around the outskirts of this bitch. Arabia is the oil field they took from the Ethiopians. That's the Axumite Empire. When I was telling y'all about Nipsey Hussle and all that, Axum. That's the oil field. Arabia ain't nothing but the oil field. They're going to be worrying about that after a while. I think they ain't cahoots. Now they good right now. I think they good right now. Yes, that connects the Pacific. Yes, that's correct. The Pacific connects to the Arctic. It does, though, through the Bering Strait, a narrow waterway between Russia and Alaska. Damn. Now it connects over there in that corner where you got that goddamn tilt on that bitch over there. And when you saying the Arctic is, the Arctic should be up there by that pole over there where you got that point over there, because that's where the Pacific at. That's where Japan and all that bullshit located at. And y'all come right around that Pacific, around the top. I'm saying top, but I'm just saying top. I know it ain't top. You come right around the top, hug that curve, come round past Canada, down past the Americas, and whoop right on up into goddamn Mesoamerica, and that's where you drop your folks off at. That was your way. You ain't came across no Bering Strait. You ain't did none of that shit. You came right out of the Pacific, sailed on waters, and came around. And that's how y'all took over Mexico. Yeah, that's how the Mongolians took over Mexico like that. Based on the standard globe, the Indian Ocean is bounded on the west by the continent of Africa. Okay, but the Indian Ocean should be able to wrap and go around the backside of the ball and run right on over to the west side of South America. It should have to come across the face of it. Why you keep coming across this way? Go on around the back of the ball. Go on around the back of the ball. West of the continent of Africa itself, meaning the water cannot physically extend a route behind it. Huh? Why? Why? Don't let me goddamn count the Indian Ocean out as being some bullshit. I don't like India anyway. Why? Pacific Alternative Map and Models, particularly perspective on a globe. Could you clarify how? I ain't got to clarify shit. You just said a mouthful. Son of a bitch. The Pacific and Atlantic Oceans are actually side by side horizontally, east to west, separating the American continents. Both oceans stretch all the way from the Arctic to the north and the Antarctic in the south, which don't exist. All that shit is Atlantic. It ain't number 3 oceans. And the earth contains the water. The water is not containing these land masses on the side of them. You're looking at a top view. This the same top view that Professor Picard when it said it appears to be a flat, stationary plane with rise edges. They meet directly in the southern tip of South America at Cape Horn. If Japan is on the backside of the water ball, why I had a screenshot that bitch said, I believe I let that bitch get away based on the globe any African physically extend the route. I had another screenshot. He said the Pacific, yes, the Pacific next to the other ocean through the Bering Strait and there in water. I had another screenshot. This bitch said the Pacific was not on the back of the ball. If the Atlantic in the front of this bitch, how they gonna sit side by side, motherfucker? If the Atlantic in between Africa, Asia, in between if the Atlantic is sitting in Asia, headed to the Americas, how could they be sitting side by side? Now you get it on the side. Now the Pacific is on the side of God doggone motherfucking California to the west. So when the ball gonna wrap? Because you're sitting on flat water and you gotta come across the face of the earth. And come around the outskirts, you gotta come past what they call the Arctics and Antarctics. Man, that's still Pacific. Atlantic, and on round to the right will be the Indian Ocean. It's 3 oceans. It's surface level, and that's where you live at. The water stop at your feet at surface level, and you stand upon the earth upright in righteousness. And when you hit that north, when you go across that north right there, where they got now screenshot at, when you go across that north right there, when you hit that north right there, you hit high altitudes, upper lands. And when they tilt it, they kill your whole bloodline. They snatched the Mississippians and the Egyptians with one twist. When they twist that motherfucker 23.5 degrees, they usurp the Egyptians and they usurp the southeastern Mississippian cultures, Ohio included. I said, the truth don't need no help. It ain't gonna bend, break, not fold. Huh? I said, boom. Huh? Bam, bitch.